Hello and welcome back to the Aligned podcast, and welcome to the new studio. You may be watching this on YouTube again, as we have picked up on the YouTube side of things. We've changed to a bigger studio. I am joined, as always, by my co-host Tom, who is a recent father. Tom, congratulations. How are you doing?
I'm good, Lee. Thank you. And it's nice to see you all the way over there on the other side of this extraordinary table.
Yeah.
And so nice to be in a different environment. I'm a new dad. That took a while.
Yeah.
And we've had a hiatus of a couple of weeks of not recording, and I've been so excited to get back into the studio, get back into flow. And I tell you, it will come into, actually, I think, the discussion today, what we're going to talk about in terms of some momentum, because you lose that momentum, you lose a bit of self-belief, which is what we're talking about today. But yeah, what's new in your world? We haven't seen each other for a while, so tell me what's going on.
Dude, loads has been going on. I think I'd moved house when we did the last podcast. Me and Laura have had our birthday weeks.
You same week, isn't it?
3 days apart, yeah. So I'm the 11th, she's 14th.
That's cool.
So it's, so that was a crazy week of family and this and that and barbecues and all sorts. And it was amazing. Had a great time. Just like loads going on. It just seems like new business ideas coming up, just in flow.
I love that.
Yeah, just feeling good. I've been thinking about adopting a dog.
Adopting a dog?
Yeah, rescuing a dog. We've been discussing rescuing a dog, but we've already got one. She's really good, and at some point we're going to have a baby. So we're unsure whether to go through with it. But
yeah, we nearly got another dog, and then we decided we'll have the kid first.
Yeah.
Interesting. Sophie and Sarah 2 days apart, birthday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's super cool. So they're like little girls' weekends away and stuff.
How's Zorro?
Dude, Zorro. So Zorro's our dog. Yeah. I was just saying, I was watching a clip of your dog. It's Lola, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you're walking her by the cornfields. She's running up and down next to the cornfields.
Mm-hmm.
This morning and 2 mornings ago, I take Zorro out at 4:30 in the morning. He sees a pheasant and he's gone.
Yeah.
And he's a springer. So springer's bounce. Yeah. He's bouncing over the corn and he's gone. So at 4:30 in the morning, I'm running through this field shouting, Zorro, Zorro. The whole village is waking up. The more you
shout, the faster they go, mate. The more you shout, the faster they go.
He's great. I think he's testing the waters because he's just seeing where he is in the pack.
Yeah.
But he's testing that in a very loving way.
Yeah.
I think he really is affectionate for Sophie. And his bark has changed. Like someone comes to the door, it's more aggressive.
Right. Yeah.
Which, I love if I'm out of the house for
extra layer of protection.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I quite like that. Leaving the girls at home.
Yeah.
Knowing that's happening. He's great. He's doing great. Thank you. Yeah.
Cool. So today we are going to talk about self-belief, which I've been reading a book recently called the 12 Universal Laws of Success, and it mentioned self-belief in there, and it was mentioning how important it is to any level of success, basically. And I thought it could be something that we could discuss today on the podcast, because I know I've struggled with self-belief in the past, and you've just mentioned that you have. So let's have a chat.
Get into it. I completely agree. Like, it's an up and down thing. So I think because we live a life that is it's the highlight reel. That's all we really see of people's lives, the highlight reel. Yeah. Like we were just discussing a minute ago, and I'd share this, like, for fathers with newborns, expecting this to be the best day of your life and realizing it's actually a really difficult time. But the highlight reel, I'll tell you, it's all rosy and brilliant.
Yeah.
And I think the problem is when we look at the highlight reel of people we admire, we see that they always feel like they're always confident, they're always in flow, they're always achieving stuff. But I think underneath the surface, there's always an ebb and flow of self-belief. And I definitely, like I said to you off camera, I can wake up in the morning full of self-belief, and come by lunchtime, it's bottomed out.
Yeah.
So it's something that definitely ebbs and flows. And I do sometimes get stuck in a massive rut with it, and it can take me a bit of time to get out.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, when self-belief is going right, like, the stuff you can achieve in a short space of time is remarkable.
Yeah. And it really is so important to achievement, isn't it? It reminds me of that Napoleon Hill quote from Think and Grow Rich. What the mind can perceive and believe, it can achieve.
I think
but
it's that, yeah.
Believe bit is a really important part of it.
True.
So if you can think of something like the success that you want, or the life that you want, or the girl or the guy that you want, but you don't believe that you deserve that, or you don't believe that you can get that, that is basically a broken link in the middle.
Huge.
Between perceiving and achieving.
Yeah.
And you're just not going to be able to achieve it unless you can believe it.
Yeah, and I think that's a bigger part. Like, and that's why they say, like, when you get into this visualization stuff, you really have to be in it. You can't just picture things. You have to really believe that that's what you're going to do.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people, when it comes to the law of attraction and this manifestation, they think, and I used to do this a lot. I used to come from a place of like want and need. Oh, I want to be rich. I need this. I need to make all this money so that I can provide for my family. I want to have this car or this bike or this house or this life. And only in the past 8 months, maybe a year max, no, 8 months, I'd say, last 8 months, I've really been coming from a place of I am.
I was just about to say, it's the want to am, isn't it?
Yeah. So actually coming from a place of I am wealthy and I am all of these things already. I'm just waiting for the timeline to catch up.
But that's belief, like the knowing that it's going to happen in the future. And it's something that needs to be flexed on a regular basis. I suppose it's interesting, isn't it? Like, where does it get broken down? Because you see kids who really believe things, and then it seems to be lost. Like, I used to believe I could fly. Like, do you remember doing that as a kid? I remember running down the street and jumping in the end.
Yeah.
I definitely stayed up longer than normal. Really think that, like, maybe I could be flying.
It's hammered out of us, isn't it?
So much so.
Through the system and through school and church and wherever you go, and people tell you, be realistic and don't be a dreamer and focus on whatever they tell us to.
I suppose that's the thing. Stop daydreaming.
Yeah.
Like, that's a big thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
like,
you get told that a lot when you're a kid. Well, I did,
so
definitely.
Much so.
But like with the affirmations, just to go back to the affirmations and things, self-belief, a lot of self-belief, I believe, comes from the words that you say to yourself. So like, I like that saying and that quote, whatever it is, about be careful what you say. There's a reason it's called spelling, because the words you speak are spells.
Oh, wow. Never heard that before. Say that again.
So be careful what you say. There's a reason it's called spelling. Our words, be careful what you say. Our words are magic. There's a reason it's called spelling, because our words are spells.
Wow.
So I don't know where the hell I read that, but it's so true. Like the words that we say create our reality. And when you're there saying negative things about yourself, oh, I could never do that. Like, I hear so many people around me, not so much anymore, but previously saying, oh yeah, well, that would never happen to me, or I could never do that, or yeah, it's all right for him to do that. He can do that, but that would never happen to me. Oh, I'm just unlucky. And I think, well, no fucking wonder.
Yeah.
Like, of course you are. You are telling yourself that you are all the time. Like, I've always told myself I'm lucky. And I've had friends who call me Lucky Lords. Yeah. Because everything seems to go my way and I'm very, very lucky. But like, since I was a little kid, I've heard my mum used to say, oh yeah, I'm really lucky. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm really lucky. And I was. And it's manifested, isn't it?
Well, it does. It manifests by, you know, not necessarily by magic, but, you know, your reticular activating system, your body's always on the lookout for that stuff, and you see the opportunities and you actually take the action. But it's interesting you talk about that self-talk. And we've all heard this before, like, you wouldn't talk to your children the way you talk to yourself.
No way.
Funny thing I do with Sophie now, whenever I'm rocking her or looking after her, I don't Google Gaga her. People think I'm nuts. I'm going, you are the best. You can achieve anything. And I'm literally saying this to her over and over and over again. So yeah, if my goals don't come to fruition, she'll certainly win.
Yes. Yeah, she'll get it. She'll be programmed for the good things from birth. That's the way to do it.
It's interesting. I wrote something here. You just mentioned it about talking to yourself. I wrote, talk to yourself, don't listen to yourself. As a big, way of thinking about the belief. A lot of times we're on the back foot and we're just listening to this playlist in our mind of the negative stuff. And I think there's a big difference, because we tend to listen to ourselves saying, I can't do it or I can't achieve it. Whereas we definitely talk to ourselves when we're saying that we can do it. So I think it's flipping that switch from stop listening to what you're saying, start talking to yourself.
Yeah. And once you've talked to yourself enough and you've told yourself enough times that you can do it, eventually that negative voice in your head changes to a more positive one. Yeah. And then as soon as you, like, those negative thoughts still might pop up, but as soon as you hear them, you'll catch it. And you're like, no. And they're not allowed in as much.
It's true. I did a talk this week on stress to a group of people. And I said, that person in the room, there's always that person who comes in there super happy and jolly and jovial. I said, there's a reason for that, because they've programmed that. And it tends to come into our mind in the first period of the day. I've spoken about this on the show before. Like that first 30, 60 minutes in the morning where we're suggestible, that brainwave state change. And I was saying to them that the first thing that I say to myself every single morning is today's going to be a great day. Mm-hmm. It's so programmed that literally when I wake up, before I think of anything, the first thing that comes to mind is today's going to be a great day. Yeah. This mind is programmable, and it is being programmed whether you like it or not. I think you've mentioned that before.
Been programmed your whole life.
Exactly. So whether you choose to do the self-talk or whether you choose to not, you're being programmed either way.
Yeah, someone's
so you might as well
choose
exactly. You might as well choose to do it yourself.
Yeah. So self-belief. So self-belief is extremely important, and then the polar opposite of that is self-doubt. And doubting yourself is a surefire way to guarantee a lack of success, basically. So if you doubt yourself, and I talk about this because I've done it for years, doubting whether I'm good enough, doubting if people will see the value in the thing that I'm doing, and just doubting if I can achieve the things that I want. It's been there throughout the past, and it does take a lot of work to quieten that doubt and to replace it with the self-belief. So
it definitely is something that will stop you, because as soon as you doubt yourself before any action, you won't take any action, and then you start, this cycle builds up, like, why am I not getting anywhere? Am I not good enough? Because the doubt is stopping you from actually taking the action that will predictably move you forwards.
Yeah. And that book 12 Universal Laws of Success, which I highly recommend to everybody, it says doubt is the biggest killer of dreams, and it's so true.
That is true. And I think that, like we said earlier, that doubt does creep in as we're being conditioned and conformed, doesn't it, really? I suppose mainly in the schooling system. Like, we doubt we should do something because it might get us in trouble. We doubt we should do something because we might not be allowed to. And I think that's the kind of, we've been told off once, and should we try it? Should we try it a second time? And then that doubt is starting to creep in, that I think would prevent our creativity and our imagination.
And I think school pulls a lot of confidence from people in a lot of ways, but like, that's what self-belief is confidence. And I've noticed in my life, the way that my self-belief has increased is when my confidence has increased. And I've said it before loads of times, but I truly believe the way that you build confidence is by doing things that you didn't think you could do. Like, people who say I'm not confident, it's because you haven't done enough things to be confident. You don't yet deserve to be confident.
Yes.
You've got to build that confidence. It's a skill like everything else. And by doing the things that at one point you thought, at one point you self-doubted. You doubted. You didn't have the self-belief you could do it. And you did it. Even small things like little steps. You did it. Then you had a bit more self-belief. Then you had a bit more self-belief and confidence. And the doubt lessened and the confidence increased. And then eventually you are confident.
It's true. It's something that I teach chiropractors in terms of either whether it's their skill, whether it's their sales or running their practice. To get the customer or the patient to change or do something, they need to perceive you as competent. They will only perceive you as competent if you are confident. But to get to confidence, you need to have certainty. So it's like 3 C's across to success. But the certainty requires actually doing something to train up, to be better, to learn, to grow. And a lot of us don't do that. So the confidence to go into the gym and lift a 40 kg dumbbell comes because you've consistently gone in there and your certainty's increased because you started with 10, then 15, then 20, and you built up to 40. And you're certain that you can lift the 40. So you walk in there with confidence. And even if you might not feel it because you've only been going to the gym for, let's say, a couple of months, the people in the gym will perceive you as a very competent gym goer because you've been there so much.
Yeah.
It's those getting those reps in and building those muscles.
Yeah. Yeah. And one thing that I find has helped me with my confidence and my self-belief is I've always told myself that I can deal with anything. It's like Marie Forleo has a thing that she says, everything is figure-outable.
Love that.
I just always believed, and I believe now especially, that no matter what happens, I can deal with it.
Yeah, and I think that's an entrepreneurial mindset.
Yeah, like a problem solver. Yeah. But once you, like, it wasn't always like that, but once you program yourself to believe that, then your self-belief is much higher because you think, well, even if this all goes totally tits up and everything goes wrong, I'll just deal with it.
Yes.
And then it allows you to move forward when before maybe you was.
It's so true. It's a funny, like, the simplest story. Like, recently lost the keys to the post box, the post box on the wall outside.
Yeah.
And we'll deal with it. We'll just buy a new one. And Sarah's like, no, you can't do that. You got to find a key. I'm like, no, we'll just deal with it. I'll break it open and we'll buy a new one. Like, but that's the same kind of thought process for everything in life. And I think that comes back to something I heard my dad say years ago, and I think I may have mentioned this before. No matter what you go through in life, no matter how traumatic it is, you'll always look back on it and think it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
Like, you always will. You hear people who've gone through the worst things in life, and they look back on it and go, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
I remember listening to Marie Forleo. She interviewed, I forget the lady's name, and she's got a fantastic book. She's a Holocaust survivor, and she's now someone who helps people emotionally, like a psychologist.
Therapist of some kind.
Yeah, and it's amazing, just the perspective.
Yeah.
Horrific things happen, she saw, but there's perspective.
Yeah.
And sometimes that belief can come from, just got to know that on the other side of whatever it is, it'll be okay.
This too shall pass.
Exactly. And that's the belief you've just got to have.
Yeah.
Which is difficult, but, there are some things that you can do. I've got some things here that you can do, and I suppose you've got some things.
I just want to mention quickly one reason why people don't believe that they can do things. And for me, growing up in like a really small town, one of the reasons that I had limiting beliefs was because I've never seen anyone do the things that I'm planning and I've done and that I wanted to do and that I've now done, and even more so the things I'm planning on doing in the future. So the internet is an amazing thing because it allows you to get around people who you would never have been able to get around before. And you can actually now see people doing the things that you want to do. So if you're trying to do something and you don't believe that you can do it, go and find people who have done it and watch them live their lives and watch what they do. Because if you keep looking at the losers around you in your hometown, you are never going to believe that is possible. You have to be able to see people who have done it.
That's so true. I think we've spoken before about your circle and who you're hanging around with.
Yeah.
Coaching, we've both spoken about before. Just changing the environment is so key.
We are going to do the shorter episode that's coming out after this episode on Thursday is going to be a short actions-based episode. So, but we can cover a few things now that we can do to increase self-belief, and then we'll go into things a little bit deeper on that one.
Cool. So, I mean, I've got a couple. I think the first thing I said, I mentioned it before, is talking to yourself as opposed to listening to yourself. So that whole notion of it's very easy to listen to the narrative in your mind, but make a purposeful action to talk to yourself in the mind. And that then combines with what I said a minute ago as well. You've got to do that first thing in the morning. You've got to do that when your mind is suggestible, when you can actually reprogram.
Yeah.
So instead of going into a comparison on social media, instead of waking up saying today's going to be shit, or you're starting your day with the wrong fuel, you've got to protect that first part of the day, and essentially win your morning. Like, I can't think of anything more important in your day than winning that first part of the day.
Yeah, it's huge.
Which is freaking intense when you got a young kid.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you can still, like, if I hear it crying, I can still, with my eyes closed, today's going to be a great day, do my things, get up and go. Like, it can still be done.
Positive affirmations, definitely huge. Vision boards, we'll just mention them quickly because that's like another level of affirmations, I think. So telling yourself positive things, telling yourself today's going to be a great day is awesome. But if you're striving for something massive and you don't believe that you are able or capable of doing it, having the things that you're striving for physically in front of you on the wall, and then closing your eyes for even 10, 15 minutes a day to actually imagine yourself living that life and actually that being there is huge. Bigger than even I realize, I think, like huge. I had to take the bobber down off my vision board. I've actually moved my vision board, but I had to take the bobber off it the other day because it's another thing that I've achieved on there. So
it's great, man.
Yeah, so it's cool.
But it is like with that visualization, it's not just seeing it, it's experiencing it.
Yeah,
that's why I go and test drive exotic cars quite often, because I actually just put myself in the seat.
I've not yet done that. I've been on track days, but I've not test driven the actual cars that I want to get.
We could pretend to be a gay couple with loads of money and go and take a Phantom out or something. It's the pink pound, isn't it? It stretches a long way.
Yeah, I'm good. I'll just go on my own, mate.
We could even take Sophie and be like a new age.
We've just adopted this baby.
Oh my God. She's not a toy to be used.
No.
Dad, stop it.
But it's not gone so far that way yet that they're not letting straight people test drive supercars. But it could happen one day. But for now, we're good.
Definitely worth doing. And I always go, I think I've said this nearly every episode, I always go back to, you've got to do one of those three things every day. You've got to do something for your relationship, something for your business, and something for yourself. Mm-hmm. If you don't do one of those things each day, you will feel like you're not achieving and you will fall on the back foot. So even at the end of the day, if you feel like you haven't done it, you've just got to make yourself do those little bits. And you'll win that day.
Yeah. So this quote here from Dale Carnegie actually relates to that. So inaction breeds doubt and fear. Action breeds confidence and courage. If you want to conquer fear, do not sit home and think about it. Go out and get busy. So just by taking the action towards the things that you want, it lights up the next step on the path, doesn't it? Like just by making those moves forward. So
there's a lot to be learned from Dale Carnegie. And obviously Napoleon Hill was very good friends with him. He did the guy basically recorded his life, didn't he?
Yeah. I think Dale Carnegie hired Napoleon Hill, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And another Carnegie really worth reading is Andy Carnegie. His books
are
really good. How to Win Friends and Influence People being his main one. Okay,
so there are a few little things that you can do to help improve your self-belief. But as I said, be sure to listen to the episode that's coming out on Thursday so that you can hear about some real actionable steps that we're going to be bringing you. Thank you, Tom, for joining me in the new studio today.
It's been great to be back. I'm really excited to see the YouTube back up and running. So make sure you get over there and subscribe. Please share this show. It is still growing. And we just hope that we'll bring you great value to help you change your life. And it's so nice to be back in the Adapted Studio.
Yeah. Have an amazing day, everybody. Stay aligned, and we will see you in the next episode.